Hi. In the last week, I've had 2 people who already own commercial cideries and 3 people who want to own meaderies write to me and ask for advice. And they claim to have seen every episode of this show, which must be a lie, because what have I ever said that implies that it is a good idea to own one of these things? Welcome to Ask the Meadmaker, where I, Ricky the Meadmaker, answer your questions about mead making, mead drinking, mead brewing, and really, any question you're willing to send to me. Our first question this week comes from Nick, and he was thinking of making nano or even pico batches of mead in mason jars with little bubble locks so that he can scale them up someday. And he wanted to know if that's too small, and the answer is probably yes. When you're that small and you're measuring out in milligrams, when in the future you'll be in kilograms, it might not work depending on the accuracy of your scale. Basically, the smallest size batch I would recommend for something you want to scale up someday is 1 gallon. 5 gallons is ideal. Our next question comes from Palmer, whose wife is diabetic, and he wants to know about the carb count in mead. I am not a medical doctor, I am merely a doctor of the humor, so I cannot tell you exactly how many carbs are left in your mead, nor can I say that consuming things with residual sugar are somehow better or worse than consuming things with alcohol for people with type 1 diabetes. But the answer is, if you want less sugar, fewer carbohydrates, the drier, the better. Our next question comes from Trevor, who wants to know if these infrequent bubbles coming through his airlock are just natural degassing, because he's read on the internet that people sometimes have bubbles infrequently coming through their airlock months, even a year after fermentation is completed, and if the only way he can know is his daily gravity checks. The answer is, if you're taking gravity checks every single day, man, why are you asking me? If it's stopped dropping, it's probably done. Our next question comes from Gabriel, who wrote me an epic. It begins with, if you have the time, allow me to spin a tale. Now, I had the time, and it was fabulous, and it involves an eldest son coming in and honestly telling his father that an incident had occurred with his fermentation. But you don't have the time, so I'm going to skip to the end. His carboy got knocked over, and most of the contents had spilled out onto the floor, and he wanted to know, is there anything that I could suggest to help him successfully conclude his batch? And the answer is, man, you were only doing a 1 gallon batch, and half of it spilled out. It was months ago. I hope you drank it right out of the jug. Next time, put your carboy somewhere safe. Our last question this week is also a reader, but quite the opposite of the previous one, in so much as it is not an epic, but nearly a haiku. It comes from Dick the Butcher, and it is, I have a lot of very dark liquid honey, period. 30 years old, period. The mead is fruity and sweet, period. Any suggestions would be appreciated. So, there are no questions here. And I don't know what is 30 years old. There's no reference to mead previously in the comments. So my suggestions would be those akin to the ones I've given in the past. Drink less before commenting on YouTube. Anyway, that was our last question this week. Keep sending them, and I'll get to them as soon as possible. Cheers.